Social engagement for Max a tricky aspect because he's so physically compromised and he has no verbal language and no independent mobility. Mac relies on switches that are under his feet and people holding their hands under those switches for him to actually answer with a voice output device yes or no. But the interesting thing is, because Mac's been around so many of these kids for so long, Mac's now 10, and for some of them they've been together for 8 years through preschool and early primary school, they've actually learned a lot about his non-verbal cues. So they learnt very early that even just a lip smack that he does if he doesn't have a device with him is a yes, and that a very still response with his face is a no. And so they learn to read those signs without even knowing that they're picking up on some, micro cues from Mac. Because they've always been around Mac and encouraged to communicate with him, it's become a very natural process. Once Mac got his communication with his feet much more embedded and established and was able to be doing his schoolwork with that, it was then recognised that for him to meet a goal that we had for him of an independent communicator and an independent learner, one of those goals was to remove the adults from his space. So to achieve that, rather than the adult working one-on-one with him all the time, the school's actually set up a framework where the other students are taught how to become effective communication partners with Mac. The framework's set up exactly the same way as their literacy framework and their numeracy framework, so it has that authenticity. And it's designed so that each student can learn at their own pace, and that might be just identifying the equipment that Mac uses and Mac's method of communication, right up to some of the students in grade 4 are programming his high-tech device. So there's some major learning there. It removes that fear factor around augmented communication and makes it very natural. They are terrifically authentic with his responses, amazingly so. You would think that they could easily tweak his responses to suit themselves, but they are, they voice their frustration when they've got an answer wrong and he's got it right. They laugh when they ask if he wants to play with them in the playground and he says no. They don't hit the button for him and make him say yes. They actually respect his communication. So socially things are moving along quite well, but it has needed the students to mature as well, so that they've even got the language to be able to phrase those questions and frame that inquiry around what they want to know. The next step for Mac is to actually start inquiring back and actually instigating the conversations or the questions. But at this stage, at grade 4, socially things are working well and they're all getting on.